is your official sector trend? Now, more than 6 million refugees live in camps worldwide as per the UN records. Now, the World Refugee Day is observed on June 20th to respect and honor the courage and resilience of refugees across the globe. Now, to discuss the plight of refugees in our country, we're joined by Fred Muyomba, CPM refugee law expert and law lecturer at Mount Kenya University, PLC. Fred, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Welcome to Metropole Television.
Thank you.
Fine. I mean, the first question that anybody is going to ask you right now, Fred, when you look at where we are in the world, have we made strides when it comes to addressing refugee issues and refugee capacity enhancement across the world, or we're going backwards?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for having me here. I'll say that we have made strides,
yes,
but we are not yet there.
Yes.
And more needs to be done. Today, I'll specifically talk about our region,
yes,
Africa and Kenya to be specific. It's clear that the fact that we have over 400,000 refugees in the camp is an indication of the government's commitment in hosting refugees, which means we are making progress. However, there are challenges that are bound each and every time, which then makes us want to push the government further,
yes,
in ensuring that refugees are protected.
Pretty much. Now, for somebody who really wants to understand this day, World Refugee Day, Fred, I mean, we say, let's celebrate refugees. On a personal level, how would somebody start celebrating World Refugee Day to make an impact in a refugee's life?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so for starters, we need to understand who is a refugee.
Pretty
because,
much.
you know,
yes,
most people do not really know who refugees are. They look at people, the skin of their color, the dress, and they label them as refugees just based on that.
Yes.
However, a refugee is a person who has crossed an international border, fleeing from his country of origin, and in this case, Kenya, they are here to seek asylum based on some grounds that are outlined in the law.
Yes.
Now, which means then you cannot be a citizen in a country and be a refugee at the same time.
At the same time, yes.
So that only foreigners who are here to seek protection can then be considered as refugees.
Yes.
And there are various grounds on which one can seek asylum. For example, persecution on the account of race, nationality, religion, belonging to a particular social group or political opinion. Those are the official, and sex for the Refugee Act, which is an inclusion in comparison to the others.
Yes.
So those are the grounds that qualify you to seek asylum in Kenya. And once you are here and then, you are taken through a process known as refugee status determination. So it's not just any foreigner seeking asylum who is considered a refugee, but those who go through a process of verification and then conferred with the status of refugees. So if you find a person who is legally considered a refugee, those are people who have gone through processes and they have been confirmed as refugees. Now those are the people we are talking about whose day we celebrate 20th of every June.
Yes, pretty much. So on a personal level, Fred, when somebody says, let's celebrate the World Refugee Day, what am I supposed to do as an individual then? I mean, you like to think that we know, but then it becomes irrelevant if I'm not going to do anything. What should I do on a personal level?
Thank you.
Yes.
So on a normal day,
yes,
we really are not supposed to be celebrating the fact that we have refugees.
Isn't it? In fact,
yeah,
it starts from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
However,
yes,
what we celebrate is that we are celebrating the gains being made.
That's it.
And we're also assessing ourselves, in this case, the country,
yes,
on what is it that it has been able to achieve. Ultimately, refugees are not supposed to, the status of refugees is not permanent, which means at some point, we need to have a situation where former refugees return back or get some form of durable solutions.
Yes.
And there are three of them.
Yes.
So in our assessment on whether the refugees within our country are eventually getting a durable solution, that should be something worth a celebration. Now, other than that, refugees are human beings, just like you and me, and they also need rights. You know, they live just like us, they desire, they have expectations. So therefore, what we are celebrating is what are the milestones we are making as a country, as a region, as a society, as you and me,
yes,
in relation to one, understanding who refugees are, right? And then what are we doing, not just as a country, but as an individual, to help these refugees who are in our country to get a better feel of their livelihood while in this country.
Pretty much. All right, now let's talk about then where we are, Fed, in terms of these rights for refugees in the country. And I want to take you back again on exactly what happened, because I remember, well, just last month again, if I'm not wrong, when Kenya threatened to close the biggest refugee camp in the country. How did that make you feel as a country? Did we make the biggest, was that the biggest setback to any gain that the country has ever made in recognizing the refugee rights?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, on 24th of March,
yes,
the Cabinet Secretary for Interior made that declaration that, you know, government want to close down the camps. However, it's important to note that it's not the first time the government has done that.
Yes.
We have a pattern, you know, of declaration. We've had attempts where government has tried to repatriate refugees. Of course, government may or may not be justified in the action.
Yes.
What we as practitioners say is that government must, you know, follow its own rules. And among the guidelines is, while we encourage refugees to go back, while we encourage refugees to return, the return must be voluntary. You can't wake up and say, now we've had enough, please go back. Secondly, you know, government cited security concerns.
Yes.
You know, the government has the security apparatus, so I may not be in a position to really delve on it. But when you think about it, my own opinion is that, you know, government should enhance security. You know, taking back refugees may not help much, because there is evidence that refugees who are forced to go back always find a way to come back.
To come back, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so for that reason, we encourage refugees, of course, once situations have improved, and for quite a number of refugees have actually gone back.
Yes.
Including from Somalia,
yes,
Rwanda, and other Sudan, you know. But what we are against is forcing refugees to go back, because
yes,
it's against not only international laws, but our own laws.
Yes.
Section 18 of the Refugee Act of Kenya expressly provides that you shall not return a refugee to countries where they are likely to face persecution.
Yes.
And that's the cornerstone of refugee protection. And it's for that reason, therefore, that while government may be having its own reasons to desire refugees to go back, closure of camps, obviously, to us, is not the best solution.
Pretty much. All right, now, Fed, and I will stick to that issue again, because now it's becoming an issue again world over, on how some governments are using the refugee status to sort of negotiate the relations that they have with the refugees of this specific country. And that's exactly what it is that we're doing between Kenya and Somalia. Is which law are we specifically breaking? Because for me to accept a refugee from your country, then you gotta find ways to really be in proper terms with my government. Because if you break it, then I can use that to leverage. Yes.
That's interesting, but not really.
But not really,
not
isn't
really,
it? Yes.
Yeah. Refugees cross over to the country of asylum because their country of origin or nationality is unable to provide protection.
That's it, isn't it?
Yes, so basically what that means is the country of origin of refugees need not to be in very good terms with the country of asylum. In fact, the two have no relationship.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's not symbiotic.
They have no relationship.
Not at all, not at all. I will, if I'm a refugee and I'm seeking asylum, it is the refugee who chooses where to go to. It doesn't matter whether there is a relationship or not.
So the refugee is protected by international law.
Exactly.
Yes.
Refugee law is international law.
Yes.
Refugees are protected under international instruments, and the relationship, bilateral relationship, do not make any difference at all.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it hard to understand, as well, you know, one majority of the refugees that I have in my country are from this country, so you gotta try as much as possible then to be in good terms with me, because then I will say you're my problem.
Ideally, every country should take care of its own people.
Yes.
Ideally, you know.
Yes.
And no country worth its salt wants to produce refugees.
That is it.
Because once you are a refugee, the assumption is your country is unable to provide protection for you. Therefore, countries work hard. Like, you know, Kenya has tried much.
Yes.
We wouldn't say there are no refugees, Kenyan refugees abroad, but, you know, our government has tried to, you know, try as much as possible not to have situations of refugees. Unfortunately, Kenya is surrounded by very volatile neighbors.
Yes.
And there have been conflicts nearly across our borders, countries bordering Kenya, starting from the east with Somalia, north Ethiopia,
Yes.
South Sudan, you know, in some years back, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi. So unfortunately, due to those conflicts, and Kenya at one time, by the way, you know, we also had a test of this in the 2007 post-election violence. We had our Kenyans, you know, crossing the border to mostly Uganda to seek asylum.
Yes.
So anybody can be a refugee. Anyone can be a refugee. And it's a matter of, you know, putting up measures to ensure that, at least for the refugees in our country, we provide the best protection possible.
Yes,
yeah,
pretty much. Now, let's talk about what has been the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on our ability to even sort of bring the refugee situation under control. What impact has this had on the refugee situation in the country, Fed?
Yeah, that's a sorry state, you know. COVID pandemic has affected everyone across the world.
Yes.
Kenyans have greatly been affected in this country. So you can imagine the containment measures being put by the government, how much they have impacted each and every one of us. But now it's worse for refugees, you know, because for this period they have been confined to the camps. Movement has been restricted,
yes,
you know, to reduce and, you know, prevent further spread. And you can imagine when you are contained in a place and it's not, you know, you are not likely to be allowed to move, because refugees in the camp are confined. For you to move from one camp to another, or to come to the urban centers like Nairobi, you need permission.
Yes.
You need a movement pass. So for that reason, it has been extremely, extremely challenging. Two, on finances, you know, most refugee programs and organizations are donor funded. And as soon as COVID hit, there was, you know, there was a reduction of support across the board.
Yes.
So refugees are just among those who are affected. When you look at the healthcare, when you look at education, all sectors within the refugee sector have greatly been affected.
Yes. So when it comes to recognizing this refugee and actually even giving them these movement passes, is that a conversation that we should be having? That once you come in, then you should be given a refugee ID, especially in this country, so you can actually move freely, so you're not treated as one who's not supposed to be in this country, or one who are waiting for to leave. Is that it?
Yeah, to some extent, yes.
Yes.
To some extent, no.
Yes.
Identification document is a right in the Refugee Act. Every refugee, once recognized, must get a documentation.
Yes.
Without which your life will be so unbearable.
Yes.
Now, our Constitution of Kenya has also provided for right of movement for every person within Kenya. Every person. The Constitution says
regardless
everyone.
Of your status.
Yes, regardless of your status.
Is that what it exactly says?
Yes.
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 That once you're in this country, then you can move.
No. The Constitution says every person in Kenya
yes.
has a right to movement.
Yes.
But for refugees, their movement is restricted, you know, which to some extent is in conflict with the expectation of the Constitution.
Yes.
However, that having been said, to be fair, Government issues movement pass to those who seek to move from one camp to another, or one camp to maybe the urban settings for maybe medical, for education, for whatever purposes.
Yes.
There is a procedure to issue refugees with documentation to facilitate their travel.
Yes.
The challenge comes in when you do not have access to the document or you are denied the document. Yeah. Which then makes it a little bit challenging. You want to meet family, you want to go for medication, you want to go for further study, and you need the document. If you don't have it, you can't move. And if you move, you'll be considered to be doing so illegally, and you may face prosecution.
Let's talk about this setup of this camps, Fed. I mean, when you talk about a refugee camp, like the biggest camp that we know now, Kakuma, then even the government should be figuring out how do we set it up, because it has to become an economic bloc for it to be functional, because we do expect that every country should be having that provision that we have to take care of these people coming to this country to seek refuge in the country. When you look at these refugee camps in the country, how are we really making these steps to recognizing and making proper setups for these refugees coming to the country, so that in the meantime, when they're here, it is a functional setup as opposed to what we've seen in other countries like Ethiopia?
I'll say that there is progress.
There's
if you
progress.
visit the camp, if you visit the Dadaab camp, which
Yes.
is the largest camp, it's actually a complex, you'll find some pockets of actually refugees who do business,
Yes.
who have a livelihood, who are trying to make ends meet. Dadaab refugee camp is mainly temporal camps. You know, when we host refugees, there is no expectation that they'll be here permanently.
That is it.
Okay. But moving to the Kakuma camp, there is a plan by government to at least construct better houses,
Yes.
almost permanent dwelling places for refugees, even though the intention is not to have them there permanently.
Yes.
So I would say we are making progress, but obviously more needs to be done. You know, refugees, means our engagement with refugees reveals that majority do not wish to receive handouts. You know, if they are given a platform where they can go out and, you know, find work, you know, earn a living, pay their bills, they'll prefer that. In fact, that explains why we have this smaller category of very few refugees who are considered to be known as the urban refugees, because once an urban refugee, then you provide for yourself, you know.
Yes.
But as it is now, those are the two camps. Camps in the life in the camp is restricted. The refugees are provided for almost all basic amenities, and it's not easy even for donors or government to really provide for a population over 400,000+ refugees.
Yes.
Yeah.
It becomes quite a challenge, isn't
Yes.
it? Because that becomes like some sort of economic block that you've got to figure as the government. All right, let's talk about this year's theme, which is Together We Heal, Learn and Shine. All right, but your local theme, Fed, is different. What is the reason behind it?
Yeah. The global theme,
Yes.
as you mentioned, is Together We Heal, Learn and Shine.
Yes.
Which is perfect. But then we chose the theme repatriation during COVID, referring to repatriation of refugees
Yes.
during COVID. Ideally, it's a question mark. While the government want to close camps, basically what they are saying, they want to repatriate or return refugees. We are asking, okay, even if it was to happen, is it the right time to do it when we are facing the challenge of pandemic?
Yes. Yes.
Okay? So we felt that for Kenya, the most pressing issue at the moment that is occupying the minds of refugees is repatriation and closure of camps. And that's why we and the partners we're working with made it a theme, so that we use the platform now to sensitize the public on this issue of closure of camps and the challenges refugees are facing during this COVID pandemic.
Yes. And you think that this theme resonates well with the country? Because you like to think that the global theme would cut across the board. Yes.
Perfectly. For us, it does. You know, we are aligning ourselves to the international theme.
Yes.
But then we are saying the situation in Kenya is different. Refugees in Kenya are facing imminent danger of repatriation.
Yes.
you know, should camps be closed, then, you know, so it's also our time to highlight what we feel is domestic.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Fred, when you look at the biggest contribution to our refugee situation in the country, I'll talk about our neighbors. Do we have sort of something that we'll call a near end to the refugee situation, especially in the region? I'm talking about East Africa as well. Or this would be a situation that will continue. Case in point, we have camps that have been now considered a permanent situation in the country as well. Talk of the likes of Kakuma and Dadaab, which have been with us for quite some time now. Do you see a near end? And I'm talking about the relations within the region and the political situation as well across the region.
As a positivist,
yes,
I foresee,
like how you say it as a positive.
Yeah, I foresee an end to
Yes.
it. You know, a time when refugees will be back to their country.
Fred, is somebody going to tell you, well, you're being overly optimistic, Fred?
No, it's just,
Yes.
you know, it's...
I mean, when you look at the political situation in the country.
The thing is,
Yes.
it's good to be positive while at the same time understanding the reality.
Yes.
So we, or rather I'm saying, you know, we look forward to that day
Yes.
when we won't have refugees. We won't even have IDPs in Kenya, because the IDP situation is another all ball game which we can't discuss today.
Yes.
But the reality on the ground is different. The reality is evidence, facts reveal that we are likely to see situations of refugees for a long, long time.
Isn't it?
For a long, long time.
Yes.
When UNHCR was established, back in the year 1950, early 50, you know, the primary mandate given to it by UN
Yes.
was to deal with the refugee situation for a very short period and be done and dusted. But, you know, 3 years later, refugees are still there. You know, we had to amend the convention, which is known as the 1951 Convention, so that we extend the mandate of UNHCR. And now, almost 60 years plus over, we still have refugees across the world. Kenya itself, when we received refugees initially, we did not see the need to have a refugee act.
Yes.
So we just invited the UNHCR, and they gave support, and we hoped one day the situation will end. 2021, we are still receiving refugees. So that shows that realistically, while we are positive, we need to keep planning.
Yes.
Because situation does not seem, or fact don't reveal that this is going to end soon. Look at our own country. There are tribulations, you know, surrounding election. Every time we have elections, there is a lot of jittery.
Yes.
That jitteriness is an indication that, you know, there is always potential for conflict. Kenya is not unique. Our neighbors, you know, every now and then there are conflict. And whenever there are conflict, the least you can expect are displacements. And when displacements occur, it will generate into either IDPs within their country or refugees outside their country.
Pretty much. Oh, now, Fred, from where you stand this morning, because we really want to enlighten people listening to this morning, to you, what are some of these rights? And I will ask you about the top two that refugees have, but most people will not even start to imagine that a refugee has those specific rights.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that some
Yes.
people do not believe refugees have rights. But, you know, we can't blame them. They need to be sensitized.
Yes.
They need to be sensitized. Any human being, just by being born, you know, as a human, must have rights.
Pretty
Animals too have rights.
Yes.
So we call them animal rights. Now, focusing on what I consider as to be important rights for me, while they are all listed in the Refugee Act and other international instruments, for me, one of the most fundamental rights is provided for under Section 18 of the Refugee Act, and it states that a refugee shall not be returned. We call that the principle of refoulement or
Yes.
refoulement. A refugee cannot be taken back to the frontiers of their country where they are likely to face persecution. The same persecution that made them come, whatever that made the person come to this country to seek asylum, they can never be exposed to it. Section 18. When you look at other sections like Section 16 and others within the Refugee Act, there are also other very critical rights. For example, the right you talked about, it, documentation.
Yes.
If you don't have a document, you are not recognized a human being without a document is not recognized.
Yes.
You know, so once you've been assessed and confirmed to be a refugee, the least that you should receive is
A document.
documentation.
Yes.
Which then gives you rights, because once you have the rights, then you can move, you can seek ABCD, you can survive. Now, there are more other rights which are also provided in the Constitution of Kenya. Ideally, all rights which specifically refer to persons, any person, can also be escalated to refugees, because refugees are people.
Yes.
Because our Constitution does not specifically mention refugees. It talks about citizens and others who are living, who are it considered as persons.
Yes.
And that's where when we talk about, for example, movement, it does not say citizens have a right to move in Kenya. No, it says all persons
Have a right
and
to
there are
move in
many, health care, education, name them. All these rights also accrue to refugees. But for me, the primary two will be the right not to be returned and the right to documentation.
Pretty much. All right, Fred, as we come close to the end of our conversation this morning, there's that part as well, documentation. How do you go about getting a document as a refugee? And should I find myself in the country without that documentation, where do I go?
Yeah, for a person seeking asylum, because they initially called asylum seekers,
Yes.
once they enter Kenya, by Section 11 of the Refugee Act says, either lawfully or otherwise, by any means.
Yes.
Once you are here, all you need to declare is, one, you are seeking asylum.
Asylum, yes.
Then present yourself to the authority. Now, the authority in this case is the department in government known as Refugee Affairs Secretariat.
Yes.
They have offices across the country, but for Nairobi, the office is Shauri Moyo. So once you seek asylum, then you are recognized as an asylum seeker.
Yes.
An asylum seeker is a person who has been who has reported to the intention to seek asylum, but the status of refugee has not been conferred on them, because before you are conferred with the status, you need to be taken through an interview.
I see.
Now, this very detailed interview is known as refugee status determination, and it takes time, because government also has to confirm. It has to confirm that indeed you are a genuine refugee. Now, after the lengthy process of refugee status determination, then you are conferred with the status. And conferment is not a gift, it's not an award.
Yes.
We are just saying, we now agree with you that you are a refugee.
Yes.
It's not that you've now become a refugee, just that we now agree that you are actually a refugee. Then you are issued with the document.
Yes.
Now, previously, UNHCR used to be on the forefront on this, but now it's the government of Kenya doing it. So the refugee card that is issued is known as refugee certificate.
I see.
Similar to the national ID, issued from the same source, but then this is indicated at the top, refugee certificate, and it's meant for refugees who have been confirmed. Unlike national IDs, refugee certificates have expiry date. That's an indication that you are not expected, and for good reason.
Yes.
A refugee is not a death sentence. You are not here for life. So once you have the documentation, then government gives you an opportunity to choose where you are comfortable staying. Is it Kakuma or Dadaab?
I see.
So for refugees, mostly from the east, they are normally taken to Dadaab complex, while refugees from the Great Lakes and north part of Kenya, they are normally taken to Kakuma.
Yes.
Very few refugees have an opportunity to stay in the camps, and for them, there is a further process to confirm that for sure the two cannot comfortably live in the camp. Those are the ones who now are allowed to live in the urban centers,
I see.
and we have quite a number. And mostly it's because they are not able to survive the camp environment, mostly due to security or their health condition. They are sick, chronic illness, which may not be taken care of in the camp. For those, they are given special permit, not special permit, but their ID card indicates the city or town where they have been accorded, are allowed to stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Fred, Thank you very much for taking your time to speak to us this morning, sir.
Thank you.
That's been quite revealing.
Thank you.
That's why there are a lot of issues, and every time we run into them, we shall be calling you
Sure.
up. So you come and then we crunch on those matters.
Sure.
Now you do know what you're supposed to do, how to celebrate this day. And according to FED, it is essentially recognizing that these refugees have rights the same way you do. And recognizing the steps that the country is making, and also calling upon the country to make sure that all that is indicated under that international law, and especially under UNHCR, is achieved by your specific country. That's how you celebrate it, and that's how you're supposed to live by it. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kianja. We take a short break. Once we come back, we've got a packaged economic review for you, telling you exactly what it is that you're waking up to this morning in terms of your biggest economic headlines at Metropole TVKE across all your social media platforms. Good morning.